everyone, and welcome to episode 29 of the Dragon Radar podcast. We are your hosts, Heeroh and Ajoten. How are you doing today, son?
I'm doing very well. Once again, back for a Dragon Ball discussion. How's yourself?
Also doing good, ready to go. So let's get started with Roshi's rant.
Let's go.
This is Roshi's Rant.
This is Roshi's rant, the first segment of the podcast where we deep dive into a particular topic regarding Dragon Ball. And this week we're talking about power bloating and the difference between where an arc starts and where an arc ends. So, I guess one example is start the Frieza arc, Goku normal, at the end of the arc massive because Super Saiyan, that type of thing. Blah blah, big power shift. So we're going to go through all of Dragon Ball and just discuss the different arcs, see which one the biggest bloat happened in.
Yeah,
I guess
where they went just a little bit too crazy, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's your first thoughts on this? Where do you want to start with this?
Well, I think the way I look at it is, I think they obviously went too hard by the end of Super. By the end of Super, it just gone a bit too crazy. But I think they had it under control in the Saiyan saga, in my eyes. I think there was a justification. He earned it. He earned the Kaioken, in my opinion. He had to go all the way to Seeking Kai. It took a long time. He had to stay there. He had to learn it. There was an entire justification to how he got that. And it still was only just enough to beat the bad guy. And I think all of that felt very earned, and there was everything behind it, and he didn't just get it. Whereas a lot of the later transformations were just kind of basically given for the most part. A lot of it was earned.
Kind of.
So I didn't really have a problem with things within the Saiyan arc. I felt whilst there was a big power boost from your main protagonist, it did feel earned.
Yeah. I mean, I understand the earned bit, but I disagree slightly. I think the power bump was a bit too much. Just because of the 1 year time skip. That's the only thing. Like from Goku and Piccolo together struggling against Raditz and both of them almost dying, to Yamcha being as strong, being able to take out Cyberman by himself, which is on the same power level as Yamcha. The Goku coming back, being able to defeat Nappa with ease, who was over double the power level of Raditz, and also like another double on top of that to be able to go toe to toe with Vegeta. Like, I thought that power bump was a bit much because for so long Goku was the strongest guy. Even in the World Martial Arts tournaments during OG Dragon Ball, like the end of the saga, I guess, against Piccolo, there was kind of no match. Like you can't say that Yamcha was anywhere close, or even Krillin or Tien at this point. In the last martial arts tournament, Goku was well above them. Piccolo was the only threat, pretty much. And then, yes, there is a time skip again from the end of OG Dragon Ball to Z, but you still know that Goku's way ahead, pretty much. And then all of a sudden, within 1 year of training, Yamcha's being cocky against a Cyberman who's the same power level as Raditz, who Goku and Piccolo struggled to take on together. With just 1 year of training? That's a bit much for me.
I suppose that's fair. I mean, I don't really have a problem as much with the Goku side of things, though, because King Kai's planet was a very arduous place to train. I mean, there was increased gravity and everything like that. It was basically the super gym. It was purely designed to be what it is. So for him to have the bigger power boost made sense to me. For him to scale quite a lot did make sense to me. So I don't really have a problem as much with that. I'm okay with Piccolo getting a lot stronger as well, because he was already very strong. I believe he would be able to power up quite a lot, because he would have been a lot stronger than Yamcha already. So I think it makes sense that he would have been able to power up enough to defeat a character such as the equivalent to a Cyberman in a year, I think he would have been able to be strong enough to do it. I don't think that would have been an issue. So
Yeah.
someone like Piccolo, that's fine. I would have been all right with. Everyone else, yeah, I can understand Yamcha. People like Yamcha.
It's just the fact that they specifically stated that the Cybermen were the same power level as Raditz. If they didn't say that, and
Yeah,
we
I
could
don't
have
know why
just
they had to say that. I think they
yeah.
literally just had to say that to give them some sort of threat.
Either way, they could have. I mean, the Cybermen, even in the show, were not that much of a threat because they were gone within like 2 episodes or whatever, however long they were around for. Not long at all. But they could have explained that Nappa and Vegeta were stronger than Raditz without needing to compare him to this minion that everyone is defeating with ease. Like, it just kind of belittles Raditz a lot, well, which everyone already knows, but also means that everyone got so much stronger within a year, which I can't see happening that much.
Yeah. I think the thing is, we don't know how much, because a lot of people who were watching Z wouldn't have known original Dragon Ball back then. So they wouldn't have. It would have been a relatively new show to a lot of people. They wouldn't have known people like Yamcha and everything like that. So it would have been relatively okay to assume that people like Yamcha are relatively strong. That's probably why it would be very easy for them to just throw that in. I mean, someone like yourself who was a big fan of original Dragon Ball, you would have known that Yamcha wasn't exactly the best of fighters in comparison to people like Tien, Piccolo, things like that. So you would have been a lot more aware, and you would have expected him to struggle a lot more in comparison to them. I think it probably would have been a lot more noticeable for yourself in comparison if you'd known that Piccolo was struggling against Raditz. So I think it would depend on the viewer more than anything else.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, as a first-time viewer, watching Z without watching Dragon Ball and watching it in order as well, because that's also important, then yeah, I think it can be excused because people won't know the exact power levels of the main cast at that point. Yeah, especially that was a weird thing about Z. They started and just jumped straight in without kind of exploring any characters at all. It was just, these are the characters. We're not going to tell you anything else. You just go along with it. Don't worry. Like, there was no introductions in Z.
Yeah. But the thing is but that's why they did Z quite well, because they kind of give you just enough that you understand who the characters were and that they all have been friends for a long time, and that okay, so these people are all friends. They've known each other for a long time, but now we can get on with it.
Yeah,
I think that's why Z was done very well. It's like you understand there's a history with them all, but you don't need to know that much more.
Yeah, I guess so, but also a lot of it is just open because you don't know these. If you're a completely brand new viewer, have never heard of anything Dragon Ball, and you just jump in and see, like, who are all these people? Why do they know each other? What's their backstory? Are they all friends? Blah blah blah. And it's just there you go. So yeah, it can be excused that maybe the power levels could be seen as similar-ish to Goku and Piccolo, but even if you just know Z and you haven't seen any other Dragon Ball, you know how these characters are portrayed later in the show anyway. You know that Yamcha, Tien, Krillin are a lot weaker than the rest of the cast. So yeah,
I would say
this is literally just
isn't as far behind, because Tien's stronger than Yamcha and Krillin.
He was, yeah.
Yeah. So I wouldn't say Tien is as far behind as the other two.
No, probably not.
Yeah, so I would say it's probably more reasonable that he would be able to keep up. And plus, he doesn't stop training. He's constantly training. So I would say for him to be able to catch up, if he knew a threat was coming in, I think it would be reasonable to say that he would be able to catch up if he trained a lot harder.
Yeah.
But Krillin and Yamcha, I would agree that probably them catching up is a little unreasonable. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I understand Goku earns the Kaioken, that type of thing. But I'm still thinking, like, yes, he was trained with King Kai, but almost like quadrupling his power level in a year of being dead, or whatever, however high it goes. I'm still kind of like, that might be a bit much. I don't know. I'm not convinced myself on that one, to be honest. I don't know how I fully feel about that. it's just because I know the difference in power levels between Raditz, Nappa, and Vegeta, and it's like Goku went from struggling to taking on the top dog in Vegeta.
Yeah. I think it's just that he had that entire year, and King Kai was designed pretty much for that exact purpose.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, nobody is allowed that. That's what Kami basically said, is that because of everything you've done. I mean, he was offered to be the guardian of the planet. I mean, he's
like, nope.
he's like, nah, I'm good. But basically, all the good deeds he's done was the only reason he got to keep his body, and basically, he was still going to be the protector, just not in that way.
Yeah.
And that's why he was sent to King Kai. Nobody else gets that privilege. Like, going to King Kai is a big deal. And that's why there's that power boost. I mean, I would argue that it's a lot more earned than things like Super Saiyan and things like that.
No, I agree. For the sake of this segment, I don't want to spend too much time on one arc. But I do want to throw out that throughout all of Dragon Ball, so every arc in Dragon Ball, I think it's reasonable power leveling. I don't see any arc where any character increased a massive amount in a short space of time. I think Dragon Ball had a perfect power balance as it goes. There was always a new enemy, but of course there's always a new stronger enemy, but also it wasn't forced, and Goku especially still struggled throughout. With Tien, he didn't win the martial arts tournament.
He lost a lot.
With Piccolo, he almost dies to Tambourine, just a minion, but there is power level boosts there, and Goku does grow, but none big enough where I see it as any sort of problem at all. I thought Dragon Ball power leveling had the perfect scale.
I think it's because there wasn't basically key for the most part. Like,
there was the Kamehameha, and that was
there was minimal key basically. For the most part, in comparison, obviously, what there is now. So it didn't really let you have auras and things like that, and there was no Super Saiyan and things like that. There was no Kaioken. There was basically your odd Kamehamehas, and that was it. That was literally it. It wasn't really something you explored, and I can agree with that. The fact that your protagonist loses a lot is a big deal. And I think that allows for good scaling, because he did lose a lot.
Yeah, and it's something we don't see anymore, especially with Goku. We don't see him outright lose, which is a shame. Like, there's some times where he's down, but he still comes back by the end of the fight and gets the win. There's no times where he's down and needs to retreat and try again later. It's always within the same fight where he comes back and gets the win. But in Dragon Ball, there was times where he was literally defeated. He had to train more, come back, try again. I miss that now.
Yeah, I think I would agree that the scaling of actual Dragon Ball was probably correct. Yeah, I think it's definitely got out of hand the further you went, and I think it became quite clear. But for the sake of the Saiyan Saga, I think for the most part it's relatively balanced. But then things changed.
Because we get to the Frieza Saga, and the introduction of Super Saiyan, I guess, is the big change.
Yeah.
But also, I think you can't not mention Frieza, because he transforms 4 times and gets stronger each time.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that broke it the most.
Yeah, but also I don't quite understand it, because, Frieza first form, arguably, should have been able to defeat anyone on Planet Namek at the time. Any of the Ginyu Force members, Vegeta, Gohan, Piccolo, he should have been able to kill them all pretty easily. Let's face it, at the start of the arc, at least, that would have been fine. And then all of a sudden he transforms into second form because he's having a bit of trouble. And, Piccolo fuses with Nail, and that's how, he's kind of keeping up a bit. And then he transforms into third form, and that's quickly skipped because it's not enough, apparently. And then skips to final form. It's like, hold on, what was the change between first up to third? There's hardly any difference in power level scale in there.
And then fourth is just God mode.
Yeah. It's like Frieza goes from being able to easily defeat anyone, including Vegeta, who is the strongest on the planet at the time, probably, or maybe Captain Ginyu, depending on how you look at it. And he skips 2 forms because they're not good enough all of a sudden. Like, what? Hold on. Did Piccolo really level up that much from transforming? Did Krillin and Gohan really get that much of a power boost from Elder Guru from unlocking the potential? Like, what's going on there?
No, I think the Frieza boost was just to show how powerful he is as the Almighty Frieza. It's just he had too much power. It was just like he went so hard when he got to fourth form. Fourth form.
Yeah.
Really, he didn't need 4 forms. He did not need 4 forms.
I would have been more than happy if he stuck with first form and then went straight to final form.
Yeah.
Second and third are
I mean,
useless.
you've got the meme. This isn't even my final form. Great. But it's the fact that he just didn't need those other 2. Like,
No.
it just didn't need to be there. Like, because it made this massive scaling issue that basically broke Dragon Ball. When you think about it, like power scaling was broken as of the second arc. Like, power levels didn't matter from the second arc of Dragon Ball.
They kept it going so good through all of Dragon Ball. Saiyan Saga, kind of, maybe, sort of. And then Frieza Saga now. It's like, done.
Like Scouters are redundant as basically the second arc. Like, it was really interesting. It's like it's over 9,000 and all this everything. It's like there were these interesting numbers, and then now it's just like
because I like the introduction of the Scouters because it showed the power levels of each of the main casts pretty much, and then within 1 arc later, it's like, okay, we've realized that people are going to keep getting stronger and stronger, and we can't keep up. We can't keep putting down specific numbers on every single character because it's not going to make sense anymore. We've got to get rid of them. Let's not mention it anymore. And that was the end of it.
We can't be bothered.
Done.
Yeah. And then we have Goku, who's leveling in his gravity. When the gravity breaks, he comes out of that and he just absolutely annihilates the Ginyu Force, who are this apparently terrifying crew that Vegeta is so scared of. Raccoon is absolutely battering Vegeta. Like, he's absolutely nothing. And they're just, apparently the Ginyu Force is supposed to be this terrifying crew who should just ruin everyone, and Goku comes out and just absolutely rinses them.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all. Again,
and it's just like, oh, right, so you guys are nothing then.
It's like the space bandits, pretty much, who are an elite warrior like clan, and all of a sudden one guy coming in
slaps them about, basically.
Yeah, especially Raccoon. He just gets destroyed pretty much. He gets embarrassed by Goku, which is a shame. But
like, I didn't have a problem with Vegeta like annihilating all the lieutenants and everything like that. Frieza, that was fine. But it was the fact that they made a very specific big deal about the Ginyu Force. Like, it was a huge deal that Frieza had called the Ginyu Force, and like the narrator had made a big deal, and they were on their way, and then it was like, now they're done.
See, this is a thing where, like we were talking about last week, things would change. I've just thought of one because of the Ginyu Force. Because they were supposed to be all powerful and mighty and stuff, maybe it would have been good if someone else also survived the Saiyan saga, like a Yamcha or a Tien, someone else who could have went to Namek, but the Ginyu Force to kill, just to show that they're powerful, because they didn't kill anyone the entire time, and then they were just easily dismantled. Like, if like a Tien or a Yamcha or someone else was there then, because it couldn't have been Krillin, because Krillin was Super Saiyan. And Gohan wasn't dying at that point, and Piccolo wouldn't have. Well, Piccolo wasn't around either. But yeah, Ginyu Force definitely weren't killing Vegeta, so they needed someone else, and there wasn't anyone. Bulma?
Immediate and mercilessly, just like that. Zero. It could have been Bulma. There's no reason it couldn't have been Bulma.
Yeah, because to be honest, she does nothing on Namek. I think they almost regret taking her, to be honest, because she's forgotten about. She's left in a cave. She doesn't do anything the entire time, and she doesn't help out at any point, really, that I remember. And then that's kind of it. she gets transported back to Earth at the end with everyone else.
No, they should have just took someone and had them like literally just immediately killed, like just to show the Ginyu Force just being brutal.
I think
Just
that
like
would have been
just zero hesitation, just annihilate them.
I mean,
Straight
Bulma is one of very few characters who hasn't died at all yet, so it might have been something to see Bulma actually die.
I mean, we've seen her die in alternate timelines, but
Yeah,
in
but
the
in the
actual
main one.
legit one, she hasn't. No,
Yeah, and it's
unless
like,
you count Boo.
since they started bringing everyone else back to life at the end of that arc anyway, it would have made like one of the Ginyu Force just to say, you know what, I'm just gonna take her out. It could have been like one of those Vidal moments in the World Tournament where she gets absolutely battered and everyone's kind of in shock, that type of thing.
Yeah.
If the Ginyu Force just did that at Bulma and killed her, that would have been a massive moment, I think.
Even if they didn't want to like show anything like brutal or anything like that, just a blast that you don't really see, just like just there, she's gone. 1 minute she's there, 1 minute she's gone. And it's just as simple as that. And then Goku gets angry and kills him, like there.
Because I don't think Bulma dying there would have changed much of the story.
No. Because if he's like, let's say Bulma dies, Goku turns up later, he's killed him. He's not going to turn Super Saiyan then because he didn't see it happen. He's just going to be very angry.
Exactly.
So he wouldn't see it for it to trigger him or out like that.
Yeah.
Like seeing it happen to Krillin's what triggered him.
Yeah. And since they were going there for the Dragon Balls to bring everyone back to life anyway, I feel like Goku would just been, okay, yes, I'm angry, obviously, but also if we still continue our mission, get the Dragon Balls, we can also just bring her back to life as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, so his power scaling is where things really started for me. He's already ridiculously strong from that gravity. And then, of course, things just got really crazy because not only have you seen the power scaling from Frieza, which is ridiculous, you then have Super Saiyan,
which can keep up,
where he basically annihilates the ridiculously strong bad guy.
Yeah,
he basically just absolutely ends up playing with him by the end. Like he leaves him. He's just like, I'm done with you. You're beaten. Like you can't keep up with me. By the end, he's just basically like, you can't keep up with me. I'm done with you.
I agree, and yeah, I think the Frieza saga was probably the main big bump, the one that did kind of ruin it all. Because looking for, like, yes, the Cell saga, you know, Gohan especially gets a lot stronger, but everyone kind of increases because of like the time chamber and the training with Trunks and everything else that happens. People are starting to get Super Saiyan, that type of thing. It's kind of, it makes sense, those power changes. Buu saga, again, people did get stronger, but overall it was kind of down to Vegito who did the job, which was a fusion, not so much just one character, and then Goku at the end, I guess, with the Spirit Bomb.
I see. Now I would say arguably the Buu saga has the most broken, like that makes the least sense to a degree. Because you have the Buu saga where you have, when you think about it, by the end of the Cell saga, the only person who's actually got Super Saiyan 2 is Gohan, yeah? So stepping into the Buu saga, we only have one person who's got Super Saiyan 2, yeah? So by shortly into that, Goku has managed, we've got Vegeta's managed to step into Super Saiyan 2. Goku has managed to get not only Super Saiyan 2, he's then managed to step into Super Saiyan 3.
All right, yeah. Good
we
point.
then jump past that and get Vegito.
I don't think that counts. I can't count Vegito as a power
which
scale.
Is, well, it's got to be because it is because it's a power bump because it's their power levels times 10 because it's this level of power that is something we've never seen before.
Yeah,
the dwarfs the enemy.
I don't want to count it just because it's a fusion and it's two people together. It's not one singular character getting extremely strong for no reason. They know that it's a massive power boost because it's two people using together.
But it's a level. It's a power. It's a level of power that our protagonists can access if they need to at some point. So if a bad guy turns up, they now have access to that stupid, and also Gotenks as well in Super Saiyan 3. So two sets of characters have access to this level of power now exists. And it's the fact that this level of power exists from going from what
fair
we
enough.
had.
Yeah.
The highest power we had in the arc before that was Super Saiyan 2. And now we have this, and God knows what this is in comparison. We had one person with Super Saiyan 2, and now we have Super Saiyan 3, and then this.
Fusions. Yeah.
Super Saiyan 3 fusions. They just went off the charts. Like how did Vegeta and Goku even get 2? Never mind Goku getting 3. Like how did they unlock that? We know how Gohan unlocked 2. How did the other 2 unlock 2?
Yeah.
Well, I suppose Vegeta's is technically explained by him going Martian, I suppose, if you kind of want to.
Yeah, I'll count that. That's how he got it. His
But
powers kind of
Goku
increased from Margin.
is in no way explained. He just kind of, his 2 isn't explained by any means, and his 3 is just, oh, I was dead and I got this technique, which is why people do not accept 3 by any means and why it's mean to bits. But no one really talks about his 2 either.
Yeah,
his 2 isn't justified.
I agree. Yeah,
he shouldn't even have 2. Never mind 3. Like,
yeah, no, fair enough. Like I've got nothing really to add to that. But you're just right. Yeah.
Like it's crazy. Like his power level is not justified at all. Vegeta is more justified than him, which is stupid.
Yeah, fair enough. I guess again, just for time purposes, let's move on to Super. Throughout the arcs, the main transformations that happen is Red Guard, which again was kind of forced, like a forced transformation. You needed 5 people, you got the strength power up, that type of deal.
I didn't have as much of a problem with Red Guard.
No, I didn't have a problem with Red.
As I did Blue.
Yeah. Blue was the one where, you know, they just completely skipped over God, which I thought was a really cool one. And then, okay, we now have Blue. Oh, all right. Okay, the power of the gods in the Super Saiyan. Right. Okay. That was a big power bump. But also, I guess if you count just arcs, we've got to go Tournament of Power, because it goes from Goku and Vegeta being able to go Blue God to all of a sudden mastered Ultra Instinct Goku, which is another level beyond, where I don't even know how you can really compare the two. It's just that much above.
I mean, yeah, they've just totally Red God now got to the point where it was fan service. Like it had its moment in the Beerus fight, and then it just, people were like, yeah, we like that, and then it got forgotten about, and then it became fan service for Vegeta in the Broly film, and that was it.
Yeah, it's such a shame.
But the scaling of it did make sense because they needed strength to fight Beerus, which is fine. There was some justification behind it. They didn't fully give it to him because it only lasted a certain amount of time and then he lost it.
Yeah.
But then they said that you maintain some of it within you. So it was basically saying, okay, so now you've somewhat got access to the God level, but you still need to earn more of it. So I was okay with that. But what they should have done is then made him say, okay, so now you've got God, so that now means you can earn red again by yourself, not going to blue. They should have just meant you can activate red by yourself. Jumping to blue in F, it was just dumb. Like, that was such a jump. That was a ridiculous jump, and that made no sense whatsoever. I don't understand where that came from. I don't understand how it happened so fast. I don't know why they thought it was a good idea. They just said, Whis, can we have this? And he was like, yeah, sure. And it was a crazy jump in power. And they literally, the only reason they gave it to them is so they could flex on Frieza. It feels like it's the only reason that they gave them that quickly. Because they both got it and they didn't show us like at all. They just both had it in F, basically.
Yeah, I agree. So just to kind of wrap up, because I'm aware of time.
Yeah.
I guess the 4 main arcs were the Frieza arc, Boo, the Resurrection F arc, I guess you can call it, and the Universal Tournament arc. Of those 4, which would you say has the biggest jump?
Resurrection F by far.
Alright, I would probably argue Universal Tournament, I think.
See, because I think that's one character.
I don't think so. I think it's kind of a mix because...
Oh no, because then you've got like Vegeta's super blooper. Like...
Yeah, you've got Vegeta, you've got Toppo as well. You've got quite a few people. Jiren, yeah.
Yeah.
But there's quite a few people and they need to overcome and they keep getting stronger and battle back and blah blah blah. So I don't know. Just from the start of the arc to the end, like at the start of the arc, I wouldn't imagine Goku and Vegeta at normal Super Saiyan Blue to be able to do the job. And then they just keep going and keep going. And then Master Ultra Instinct is like angel level. And it's like, okay. Right, well, this is massive.
Yeah, he kind of gets like ish version. And then he's suddenly using full on mastered version by the end. And it's just like, okay.
that was quick.
Yeah.
You try it one time and now you're a master after that? All right, I get it. But
pushing your limits.
Yeah, I guess for you guys watching, what do you think? What was the worst arc for Power Bloating? Let us know in the comments. But now we will move on to the Hall of Fame.
Let's go.
And now it is time for the Hall of Fame.
And now, once again, we're back for the Hall of Fame, where myself and Heeroh battle it out to see who is most worthy this week. So, last week it was the most overrated moment in Dragon Ball.
Yep.
And Heeroh, you chose Goku turning Super Saiyan 3, and I potentially mistakenly chose Vegeta's Final Atonement. And you've got the results, I'm guessing.
I do have the results, and the winner with 72% of the vote. It wasn't that bad, but 72% of the vote. The winner was Goku turning Super Saiyan 3.
Yeah.
There was a lot of comments, and a lot of people were arguing that neither moment was overrated, and they were fairly rated.
Fairly
okay.
rated.
Yeah. Like, all right, okay, if you say so, but yeah.
But did they give reasons is the question.
No, they didn't.
Exactly.
They just said, why are you trying to stir drama? And this is all fine. Both these moments are fairly rated, that type of thing. I was like, okay.
See, I want justifications.
Yeah, and why is the Final Atonement the best thing that's ever happened in Dragon Ball? That type of thing. That's what I want to know. But everyone's like, nah, it's fine. But there was still like 150 votes or something. And 72% said Goku. So that's is that a 4 streak now that I'm on? I think so.
It may be.
I think it is. It's I think it's a 4. So I'm getting up there.
Literally just back and forth.
It is. It is. But anyway, what is the topic for this week?
This week we're going a bit daft.
Yeah.
Yep. We are going with who would do best in a roast battle.
Yep. A roast battle. So who's grabbing the microphone, laying the smackdown on someone else? Who's doing it?
And as you went, and of course, as you won, you were going first.
Yeah. So
who's dropping the mic for you?
So there's a lot of people that come to mind, and dear listeners, I'm sure you have people who instantly came to mind when you thought, who's going to lay down a good promo? Who's going to put the work in and bury their opponent in words? WWE style. But one man came to mind for me, and it's probably not someone that people are expecting. So I could, honestly, I already reckon I'm going to lose. But
you're throwing.
I'm throwing. I don't expect to win, But honestly, I think he would hold his own, and that person is the World Martial Arts Champion, Hercule. I reckon he would be great at this type of thing. I really do, because let's face it, he's a public figure. Let's say that, number one. If he was on stage, microphone in hand, he had to insult someone else. He's used to media appearances. He's used to talking trash to his opponents. He was tricking cameramen and interviewers when asking what happened with Cell. He was like, it's all tricks and mirrors and all this stuff. I reckon if he had to insult someone in a roast battle, he's the man that you want to do it. He's going to be laying down the thick lines, Hulk Hogan style, brother. He's going to go all in, and he's not going to hold back, because he is a coward when it comes to fighting these aliens, against other humans. He's fine, he's cocky anyway. He is just a cocky character. That's his whole persona. That's his gimmick, I guess. But he's cowardly when it comes to people who are stronger than him. But when he's in front of a camera, that's like a flick and a switch. He's on, he's wearing, he's showing off, he's going in. So I think he's the man for the job. And I already know that's not going to be someone who you thought of. I have two names in mind, which I think you probably went straight to, and it's probably your number 1 and 2 picks. It's my backups anyway. But
go on then. Who have I picked? Who are the two I've picked?
Right, Frieza, Vegeta has to be.
No.
No? Really?
No, funny enough.
Vegeta, the king of speeches, I thought he would be high on there, and Frieza just fires insults. He's got to be high anyway.
No, funny enough, my first pick, weirdly, is Piccolo.
Oh, okay. Actually, I've just thought of another character, but I'll let you continue.
Yeah. No, Piccolo, the man with a brutal tongue. He just takes everything he says. He's just evil with he'll just take it down.
Yeah.
He's got such a sour tongue when he doesn't hear what he likes, especially when it comes to Goku. Yeah. He loves insulting Goku. And it's just, if he knows you, the thing is, whenever you're having a roast battle, you're doing it with your friends. That's when you're doing it the most. And whenever he doesn't like hearing someone when he's with his friends, and especially if he's insulting Gohan or Goku, he's more than happy, and he'll just lay them flat every single time. And I just think that's the sort of person that I want to hear. And the fact it's the way he says them as well, and I just love hearing that. It's why I love the sort of character like Piccolo, and I think it's why a lot of people like Piccolo. It's because he has that demeanor.
You know what?
It's just cold and powerful.
I'm happy you've picked him. I'm really happy you picked him, because I think this is going to be close. I think if you picked Frieza or Vegeta, which is what I was expecting, it would have been them, just because they're more popular characters. But on the mic, Piccolo, to argue back a bit, he's more secluded, solemn, Yeah, when he's just him and another person 1-to-1, he speaks up. But in a group of people, he takes a backseat. He's chilling in the back, all
exactly. He's cool.
Yeah, but he's not
he's cool. He's powerful.
He's not trying to take center stage. He's not trying to be center of attention or anything like that, which is what Hercule does best. That's his job. But, I think it could be close.
No, I think our boy, if he's prepared and if he's ready, I think he could drop someone if he wanted to. I think he could take you out. If he knew his opponent, I think he'd know what to say to take them down.
Yeah.
And I think he's getting more with technology. I think he wants to be more involved. We saw when he wanted to teach the evil containment wave and no one would listen to him. He wanted to be involved. He wanted to be there. He wanted to be on the FaceTime. He wanted to be more part of technology. He's been using in the new film. He's been using phones and everything. He's more involved these days. He knows his technology. He's getting there.
Yeah, he needs to learn how to hold the phone properly now instead of just over the top. He's getting there.
No, I reckon Piccolo can have a wicked tongue when he wants to, and I think if he's putting that to use in a roast battle, I reckon that could be powerful. And I think that's why our boy can take it down if he wants to.
Yeah,
I have faith in Piccolo, definitely.
So, if you had a backup and it wasn't Vegeta or Frieza, who was it?
I reckon it'd be Tien as well.
Oh. See, the person who I just thought of when we were speaking was Whis. I thought Whis could be a danger on the mic.
Absolute sass.
Yeah.
Oh no. If I hadn't already committed and I'd thought of that, he would have been the choice. He would have been the win.
Yeah, I think Whis could pick up the win in this vote.
Actually, yeah. Oh, if I hadn't already committed, I would have picked him. That would have been the actual choice. Can't believe I didn't think of Whis. He's the winning choice.
I think he is actually.
Actual win.
Yeah. I still went for Hercule just because I wanted to make things interesting, and I feel like he's still got a strong chance anyway.
Yeah.
But I'm pleasantly surprised that he picked Piccolo because I think it makes it a bit closer.
His demon tongue. I reckon he can. I reckon he could take it down.
Yeah,
if you wanted to. I'm happy with that.
This is something that I want someone to animate now. Let's put Piccolo and Hercule on a stage together, throwing insults back and forth. I want to see it. This is what I want now.
It'd be the weirdest thing in the world, ever.
Any animators out there, feel free to steal this idea. I'm sure it's guaranteed a few million views on YouTube. But I guess that's going to be it for this week's Hall of Fame. So just to recap, who would win in a roast battle? The two picks are Mr. Satan, Hercule, and Piccolo. Those are the two picks for this week's Hall of Fame. And you can vote. Go check out our social medias down below. You can see just below my name there the links to our social medias. Go vote in the polls. And next week we'll find out who enters the Hall of Fame. But for now, let's move on to the hot take.
Go.
Hot take.
This is the hot take, the final segment of the podcast where usually I deep dive online to find out an interesting and controversial take regarding Dragon Ball. But this week, Ajoten, you've done that, which means I'm ready to get my day ruined because that's what always happens when you pick one. So, yeah,
I do.
Looking forward to it. I'm ready. Not prepared to be annoyed, but let's see how bad this goes. So, what is the hot take this week?
I reckon it'll annoy you. I think I've done all right this time. Yeah. So it's a little bit longer, but we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully it gets you. So, Goku is better in Super than he was in Z. Everyone talks smack on Goku for being passive and how he doesn't ever want to kill, yet that was far more prevalent in Z than it was in Super. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that Super is better than Z. I just never liked Z. I can't put my finger on it, but the stories felt flat and bland.
What, Z stories felt flat and bland?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So the giant bug man on the loose. Gohan has to get angry to win. It's just a big bad guy wants to blow up a planet. I mean, Super isn't much better in terms of art creativity, but the arcs were much cooler and felt like I can relate to the characters more. While in Z, the characters just felt fake. Like they were just that. The characters felt stale. They only existed to push the plot forward. While with Super, we see people like Goku and Vegeta having lives outside of their training. Hell, even Krillin got better. And we watched him grow up.
I'm trying to piece together in my mind. The thing that threw me off the most was in Super I can relate more to the characters. Excuse me? What? What do you mean you can relate more to the characters? What does that even mean? The anime characters who go fight space alien monsters all the time. What do you mean you can relate?
I think, and I'm playing devil's advocate here, because it's a hell of a take. I think what they're saying is they can relate because this person's saying that they get to see their life outside of training.
I mean, yeah, I understand that. And to be honest, yeah, I also like that. I like the fact that you get to see a bit more of them, not just constantly fighting or training. Good points there. But that's just... What am I arguing here? What am I trying to argue? Am I arguing the point that you think Super is better than Z?
We'll put it a bit quicker. So basically, Goku's better in Super than he is in C.
Okay.
Because everyone talks smack about him for being passive and how he doesn't ever want to kill. Yeah, that was far more prevalent in Z than it is in Super.
Right, okay, let's focus in on that then. So, the main hot take I'm taking out of this is Goku is a better character overall in Super than he is in Z.
Yeah, because everyone says he's stupid for letting the bad guys live. But to be honest, he's basically saying, well, he does that more in Z than he does in Super. He actually kills bad guys in Super.
Does he though?
He kills Frieza, I suppose, technically, but that's only because he turns back time and he knows he's going to do it.
Yeah. Okay, but also
He
he
gets
kills
angry at
Boo.
Zamasu. He keeps trying to kill Zamasu, I suppose.
I mean,
Technically.
he tried to kill Frieza. I mean, yes, he did help him out. But he tried to kill Frieza and Namek. He did kill Boo at the end of the Boo arc. So,
I don't think you can say he tried to kill Frieza. He didn't try to kill Frieza. He tried to save Frieza. He tried to. Let's look at it right. He let Raditz go. He saved Vegeta. He tried to save Frieza from himself. Yeah. He gave Cell Senzu Bean.
that was the worst one.
Yeah. Boo. Yeah, that was the worst one by far. And Boo, he
didn't really do anything bad against Boo. He just did try and beat him. I guess that's a fair one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he did at the end. He did kill him at the end.
Yeah. So 4 out. What's that? 4 out of 5.
Yeah. But also, I guess you can argue in Super, he was fighting people like Hit, and he wanted to fight Toppo and Jiren constantly to just test their strength. Yes, Zamasu, you can argue, yeah, okay, he did go in for the kill. Same with Frieza. But again, you can also argue with Frieza in the Resurrection F arc. He was playing with him. That's why him and Vegeta were tagging in and out of the fight. Because it's like, oh, my turn now. Okay, there you go. Just messing around, taking it easy, as Goku does. He only steps in because he knows what happens and he turns back time and thinks, okay, well, let's not let the planet explode. I'm just going to go, boop, you're dead now. And that's it.
Beerus, I don't think you can count the whole Beerus thing because I don't really think he had a choice. No. He didn't give up against Beerus. He tried to fight Beerus. So
he wasn't trying to kill him. He knew he wasn't a bad guy, I guess.
He just couldn't beat him.
Yeah.
Like he was weaker than him. Who was after Frieza? Was it Goku Black? It was Goku Black.
Yeah, Goku Black.
They didn't stop fighting him. They constantly tried to beat him. So that's fair.
Yeah.
Who was after?
It just went straight to Universal, I guess, after a few filler episodes.
But he did trigger the Universe Saga, to be fair.
He did, which is a massive character flaw of Goku trying to be too nice and eager for a fight, which he put every universe at risk. Well, I mean, people argue that Zeno was going to blow up the planets anyway.
But he did remind him of it.
Yeah, he did remind him of it. And yes, I guess Goku gave everyone a fighting chance. But also, he risked... I mean, yeah, because Zeno was going to do it all anyway. But, yeah. I don't know. That was kind of on Goku still. I'm still taking Goku like it was his fault, sort of.
Yeah, but I mean, Zeno was going to do it anyway. But Goku didn't intentionally go to give everybody a chance. He just wanted to do a fight.
Yeah, I know. And that's why it gets confusing because everyone hates Goku in the Tournament of Power. Everyone sees Goku as the bad guy, which rightfully so, because their universe are at stake because of him. And people are like, well, Zeno was going to do it anyway. Goku's not the bad guy. So why does everyone hate him then? Because it's his fault it's happening. Yeah.
It's like, if you forgot about it, technically you could argue, well, if he's forgot about it, he wasn't going to do it. So it's quite easily like, he's a distracted child. He's a little child.
Yeah.
Child mentality, like if he's forgot about it, there's no guarantee that he's going to remember to do it. I know I think they said I think he's very old. I know he's not a literal child, but he has a child's mentality. So there's no reason that he's technically going to remember to do it unless the Grand Priest or reminds him or whatever. So, yeah, I think you can argue he is actually more passive in Z, to be honest.
Yeah. But if it's just character, like...
that's his passiveness. That doesn't make him a better character.
No.
That's just your dumbass passiveness.
Yeah, which is still there in Super. So,
Yeah.
I think it's a tonal shift in the show. Super's
Yeah.
more comedic than Z, definitely.
Hmm.
There's more comedic tones.
Well, I literally watched the first 3 episodes of Super yesterday. I was
Right.
just sitting about and I just happened to watch the first 3 episodes. And like the first 2 episodes is like, or the first couple of episodes is you just see Goku farming and stuff like that, and you see Vegeta go to an amusement park with Trunks and Bulma. Yeah, it was just Vegeta at an amusement park, and he's just literally just relaxing with Bulma and Trunks and just happily getting on. And he's thinking about Goku training and how he wants to be doing that, but it's literally just a large amount of the episode is just that, and that just shows that it is a big tone shift.
Yeah.
And that just goes to show that literally it's a very, I think it's kind of setting up that it's a very different show.
Yeah, I think also you've got to take into account that the time that the shows were created. Like Dragon Ball was created in the 90s, well, 80s, late 80s, and yeah, at the time the purpose of the show was a fighting anime, and that's what they did. You know, there was a few comedic bits here and there, especially in OG Dragon Ball, but not so much with Z. But there was still bits and pieces here and there. Whereas with Super, you know, the times have changed. You know, there's different things that are funny now compared to then, that type of thing. Things you can joke about, things you can't, that type of thing. And you know, this is written in like 2013, 14, somewhere around there. That's when Super started being released, I think. So yeah, it's been, you know, a big time jump from the 90s, I guess. You know, 20 plus years. And yeah, I can understand why this guy might prefer the character of Goku and Super. But also, they're two separate shows that are connected. You know, it's a continuation, but times have changed. So you've got to make people slightly different, because I think if they came back with Super, but it was like literally exactly the same as Z, you know, the art style can change, fair enough, but if the writing was exactly the same, I don't think it would have been as popular, because that was a different time back then. People liked it well, they still like it now, but I don't know. I don't know if it would be so successful for new viewers, which was the whole point of Super, to get new viewers to Dragon Ball, younger kids, that type of thing. Because I think it would be harder to get younger kids invested in Z and the Z style of writing compared to a new, slightly more comedic version of Dragon Ball in Super.
Yeah, I think the comedy aspect is for younger viewers,
Mm.
whereas the characters and such are for the older viewers. It's a continuation for them.
Yeah.
Where, like, for people like us, it's continuing on the characters we loved from when we were younger. And obviously, the more comedic aspects, whilst we will obviously or may enjoy them, that's for obviously younger generations to then pick up on the characters, and then they'll go back, and whilst they've enjoyed the fighting within Super, they can then go back, but they may miss that from Z because they've grown used to that, and they may not like the art styles of Super. That's why it may feel bland, because the color, the art styles are not nearly as, like, they're not as bright or anything like that. Yeah, they may literally seem bland, and it's just like, because that's just the art style. They're very different. It's very much the same for people who watch Z going back to OG. It's the exact same principle. That's why a lot of people who watch Z struggle to go back to and watch OG, because it's such a different art style that it's like watching a different show.
Yeah.
And it's the exact same characters that we love and everything like that. And it's more of the same story, but the art style can take you out of the immersion because it's the exact same thing. And because everybody who's watched OG and watched the rest of it and says, oh, you're a fan of Dragon Ball, but you've not seen OG, I highly recommend, and you see the exact same thing, you say it, anybody who loves Dragon Ball and hasn't seen the original, your first statement is, watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
It is,
what you
yeah.
always say, yeah.
Mhm.
But people do struggle because of the art styles, and that's just how it is.
Yeah.
And it will be the exact same for people who have seen Super who go back to Z because it is incredibly different.
Mm.
It feels like a different show to
Yeah.
a lot of people.
I feel like this person who's wrote this take is probably a newer viewer. Someone who might have watched a few episodes of Z here and there, was familiar with the viewers, maybe played a few of the games, that type of thing, but never sat down and watched all of Z, but then watched all of Super when that was released. And then maybe went back and watched Z afterwards, eventually. Because overall, like, this guy is saying that he kind of prefers the character of Goku in Super. It's just a continuation for me. I don't think you can compare. Goku's always been childlike. He's always been a bit immature. He's always been naive, and that didn't change in Super. It's just the writing of the show changed. His character, I can't name anything, like any one characteristic that's changed with Goku. He's still the same. You know,
No,
he hasn't.
still giggly silly and everything like that all the
Yeah,
time. But then the fight starts
and he's
and
serious.
everything, and yeah, and he locks up, and he and when things get bad, he gets serious, and like we've seen him get serious when he begins to lose friends and everything like that. And we've seen angry Goku. We've seen the two Gokus we've seen is the angry Goku when he turns Super Saiyan, and the Goku that we've seen when he finds out Chi-Chi dies to Goku Black. They're the same Goku. Like, to me, a raging angry Goku who fights viciously and seriously beats the crap out of his opponent.
Yeah.
Like, because he goes strong and he goes serious. Like, that's the same Goku to me. And they are in the Frieza saga and the Goku Black are two very different arcs.
Yeah.
But it's the same Goku to me. So yeah, to me it is the same Goku, just in two very different tones.
I completely agree. If the take switched and said I prefer Vegeta in Super than I do Z, then you can argue, because yes, Vegeta did have a bit of a character shift. He is more family focused. He is definitely more. I don't want to say silly, but you know, relax. Yeah, maybe relax is the wrong word. I don't exactly know the word I want to use here. But you see him in like the bingo episode, that type of thing, where he's dancing and stuff to make heroes happy. That's not a side of Vegeta you would ever see in Z.
He's softened slightly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So fair enough. You can compare the two Vegeta characters, I guess. But Goku, like, this is the bit that kind of like, really? Like, out of everyone he could have picked, he picked Goku, who hasn't changed. I don't get why he's soloed out Goku specifically, because Goku hasn't changed. He's the one who's changed the least.
He's the open book who's always been the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, is like he's the open book who's always been exactly the same.
Yeah.
Vegeta's been the closed one who's actually finally starting to open up, and we're starting to see more of.
And that's character development. And you can have a preference. You can prefer like nonchalant, kind of angry Vegeta all the time in Z, or you can prefer this bit more softer side of Vegeta who can still throw out witty lines here and there in Super as well. You can compare because they're different. But Goku's the same. That's what I don't understand about this take.
Yeah. And I mean, then leading into the fact that in general, seeing things like Z characters as well, like in the second part of the take, which is that the Z characters felt fake.
Yeah, I don't get that. What does that even mean? What does it mean? Fake. Like, they're anime characters.
It's like you can't relate, because they can relate to the Super characters. So the Z characters just felt fake. Like I'm assuming it means like they didn't have a life and stuff.
Yeah, like that's the only thing I can think of is the very few minimal filler episodes where you see Goku and Vegeta especially living a bit of a normal life. But there is still those few filler episodes in Z. There's not as many. Well, actually, maybe there is. To be honest, Z is.
I'm thinking of stuff where I'm seeing Goku fishing in that, and when
Yeah.
he's going to see Chi Chi, and when they're like
Driving
after they
episode.
turn Super Saiyan, like when they both turn Super Saiyan,
And they're
and
just chilling. Yeah.
yeah, and they go home to see Chi Chi, and she sees what's happened to Gohan's hair,
Hmm.
and she freaks out.
Yeah, the episode where Goku puts on a suit to go to Gohan's school, that type of thing. Like, there is filler episodes where Goku acts like a human. Well, acts more normal, I guess. But I think it's maybe just the fact that Z is like double the length of Super. It's got like double the amount of episodes, so they're spread out a bit more, and it's easy to remember the fights and the main story points. But it's longer, so of course, like it seems like there's more in Super because it's more compact.
Yeah, like they felt stale. They only exist to push the plot forward.
The normal moments, like the chilling moments in Z. Well, no, that's the opposite. It's filler. Like it's the
But
same in Super.
the characters in general felt stale and existed to push the plot forward. This is the take.
Well, no, because each arc, well, the three main arcs, Frieza, Cell, Boo, each character changes a hell of a lot. Vegeta, especially.
One of my favorite fillers, okay, of Dragon Ball, full stop, is the Gohan teaching Videl Ki. I thought that was really interesting because it's actually us finding out where Ki comes from. It's not something we really see in Dragon Ball at all. Everyone just has it for the most part. Like I'm not sure how much you would have seen in OG if you actually see it at all. I mean, obviously, no, you don't. You just it kind of just goes from one step straight away to the other.
The Kamehameha is kind of the only thing that you see, but even then, it's not something like that Gohan scene with Videl where it's taught. It's just like, this is how you do it. And then Goku just does it, and then that's it. You know, he isn't taught Ki, he isn't taught how to control Ki or anything like that. It's just something he can now do.
Yeah, I didn't, because that's the thing. It's like, because I thought as much, because it's like, all Goku does is he watches Master Roshi do the Kamehameha, and it's like, oh, this takes years and years to learn how to do it, and then he just does it, and it's like, really?
His Ki is also like the ability to fly as well, which is something that Goku doesn't learn. It's just all of a sudden he can do it, and even then, that's at the very, very end of Dragon Ball, OG Dragon Ball. You know, he's on the Nimbus the entire time. That's how he flies. Because Ki isn't really a thing. I don't think they've fully fleshed out what Ki is. They had this beam blast, the Kamehameha, but I don't think they related that to Ki at the time, because Ki is energy, and you know that's what they use for flying and all the beam techniques, but it's not fully fleshed out in OG Dragon Ball.
And then everybody already had it at the start of Z. Like you had beam cannons and everything that killed Raditz. Like everybody already had these very powerful moves. And basically that was it. It was just then accepted, and it just massively escalated. You were already in the Frieza saga, and next thing you knew, and everything was just there. We then knew nothing about it, and then Videl comes along, who blackmails into finding out, and we get a literal lesson into how it works. And that's why I love that filler, because it almost doesn't feel like filler. It feels like a behind the scenes. It feels like a behind the scenes look, which I like. So I think that's actually quite important. So I don't really know how you can say things like that are stale, because that's important to me.
No, I think I've got to just disagree with this take. It's not. We've had takes in the past where I've thought they were just complete trash. Like, no, you're completely wrong. But this is something where I can argue the points, but also it's like, I don't want to say it's a bad take. It's just like, it is what it is. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just, you have your opinion, fine. I'm not even trying to change that at this point. It's just, you can think that Super is better, and you can prefer the character of Goku and Super. That's your opinion. But to me, Goku hasn't changed. and you can say things are stale, but that's your opinion, unless you're pointing out proof for why, which this guy isn't. He's just saying, I prefer it because it's stale, but you're not saying why, so it's like I can't argue it. That's just his opinion, so it is what it is.
Yeah, it just feels like the justifications for the take feel they lack any kind of evidence behind them. They're just kind of like, because I say so.
Yeah,
just kind of like, it's not real.
Yeah, so it's hard to even just trash this take because it's an opinion. He isn't putting down points or proof or anything, so it's like, yeah, I can say whatever. You can keep that opinion, I'll keep my opinion, and we'll go our separate ways and never speak about it again.
Yeah. Well, I'll go along with that. I sincerely cannot agree with this take.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to wrap up the podcast. We both disagree with this take. Well, I mean, yeah, we leave this take alone in the corner of the room.
Be gone.
Yeah. Gone. So I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. If you have, then please like it up, subscribe down below if you haven't already. And other than that, we will see you all next time.
Yeah.